why I quite like the Fitbit things, because you can look at your sleep patterns and see, oh yeah, that was the time when I really felt quite awake, but actually you find out that you're in a light sleep rather than absolutely awake. So it makes you feel like you had a better night than you did.
That's total gobbledygook to me.
I know. Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Good. How is it being back there?
Disorientating at first, but nice now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I felt a bit at a loose end at the beginning, but once I'd caught up on my sleep, but now I'm settling back into the rhythm of things.
Okay, tell me about it then.
Well, we've had some very funny bonkers Greekness going on, which has been quite fun. There's been a road dug up down the road, and by way of signage, they've put an olive twig with a pink plastic bag sticking tight to it, sticking down. That's all the alert you get as you hurtle down the road that there might be some rocky surfaces to come. And then sitting outside Stecky's yesterday, minding my own business, drinking a frappe with my mate Dave, and he suddenly said, "That's a very big butterfly," as it headed straight towards us. And we realised it was a monstrous moth. Have you seen the picture?
I have seen. I've seen the picture of the twig and the flag and the monster's moth, yes.
I know. It really was huge, and it was beautiful. The back of it had a really Game of Thrones-esque pattern on it. It was quite terrifying. And then, of course, there's been the Fitbit furore, where I posted up that I couldn't go out until my Fitbit was charged up, and quite a lot of people got a bit waspish about that. So,
yes. And on the moth, I wanted to say, but it doesn't translate on Facebook, of course, is it a mirth? Because there was a sort of Peter Sellers joke where he would speak in French. I think when he was Clouseau, it's a mirth.
That's right. What was it? It was the Pink Panther, wasn't it?
Yes, it was when he was Inspector Clouseau. Yeah.
Yeah, very funny. And so there's So actually, the Fitbit is working though. It is making me walk more. So I'm parking further away and walking a bit extra and doing all that stuff. So
anything to get the steps up, isn't it?
Yeah. What you measure increases, Judith. What you measure increases.
Yes.
And that's been pretty much it this week, except I haven't altered my clock in my kitchen yet, so I keep getting a bit confused about what time it is, but hence turning up an hour early for you earlier.
Yeah, I thought, we've never done it at 9 my time and 11 yours, have we? Have we? I can't remember.
We did do it 11 our time at one point.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah. But so what about your week? What have you been up to?
Well, hello from Brixton.
Oh, okay.
I'm in my nephew Gareth's pad, which is lovely, with Fish, his gorgeous cat, who was sunbathing next to me on the sofa a moment ago, but has gone off to get into mischief. She's quite naughty.
Oh.
In my briefing, when I came up a couple of weeks ago, they said, "Oh no, she never goes out the front door." Well, she's gone out the front door at every single available opportunity since I've been here, which means that I have to chase her up and down stairs to get her back in. But I then remembered that they said if you shake the box of scratchies, she comes running. The little not scratchies, the little dried food that cats eat. Yeah, she likes those. She's a bit bitey and a bit scratchy, but she's naughty. Basically, she's naughty in a way. She's a good way because she's only like one. She's a toddler.
Yeah, so she's a teenager, isn't she?
Yeah.
So you sound like you're. I don't think I'd like bitey, scratchy, and running away. But
well, if you understand about cats, the thing when they're biting you and scratching you, they absolutely do not do is pull your hand away, because then you tear your own flesh on their teeth. If that makes sense.
Right.
So if you just, it's not like punishment or anything. It's just
playing.
Yeah, and actually, but it's turned me a couple of times into quite a stern parent. No, that kind of thing.
You can't understand that.
Well, yes, they do. They do. If you speak to and actually, if necessary, a tiny little belt with something soft, like when she's being scampy on my bed, I just bang her with a pillow, and that's the end of that. You wouldn't want to do it with a hardback, put it like that, because that would be brutality. But no, she's sweet, and she keeps trying to throw herself out of all of the windows. It's lovely sunny weather here, so I want the windows open, but I can only have them open a little scoot. Now, I can lock her in the kitchen, but that's a bit brutal. And yesterday I took the dustbins down and was careful to have locked the kitchen, but I was quite surprised to see her out the back. Of course, she's got rear access through a cat flap down the back, and when I let myself into the sort of locked area where they keep the dustbins, she was down there already mooching around in a sort of courtyard down there, and she looked at me as if to say, "What are you doing down here?" It was really quite a strange, and I was going, "What are you doing down here? I didn't know you could get it." It was very funny. Anyway, she's a love, and it's lovely to be with her. I've met my next cat already, as I'll tell you in a minute, and I'll tell you that now. Last weekend, I can't remember what day it was, I moved in here on Thursday night, and on Saturday or Sunday I had to go up to my next house sit to meet the lady there, who's my age but going backpacking for a month.
Good God.
I know. And her cat, Jack, is 19. And to be honest with you, we did have I provoked a conversation about what happens if he dies on my watch, because he's very skinny. He has to have 5 meals a day and a very complicated schedule, so much so that I'd agreed to meet your stupor woman after I got up there, but actually I've had to reschedule her hastily to this coming weekend, Easter weekend, because I don't think Jack could spare me for a day to go from Bedfordshire to Middlesex and back. But he's been thoroughly vetted at the vets, and the vet thinks he's got another few years in him yet. So my job is to keep Jack alive. But there couldn't be 2 more different cats, one that's 1 and one that's 19.
Yeah, much more sedate.
Yes. As you know as well, I've got some more news, which is I've had my 4th PPI win, the biggest one yet, that ran to 5 figures.
Wow.
I know. I got overexcited because my net result is less than it looked initially, but it's still, I'm calling it Project Sticking It to the Banks. I'm thoroughly loving Project Sticking It to the Banks. And at the end of the month, let me think, 28th, which is London Marathon Day, 28th, 29th, 30th and 1st is the first 4 nights in 2 years that I've had nowhere to stay. So I'm having a holiday. I've put myself into a little holiday cottage in the country.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and I'm so knackered. What I really need is a complete break. I feel dog tired, and I think that was because this flat is up 2 flights of stairs. Well, I'm on the second story, which is like 4 flights of stairs, and it was so knackering bringing my stuff up that I've got most of it still in the boot of the car downstairs, and I thought, well, I'm going to need to find a man to help me downstairs with this, because I don't want to drag my stuff downstairs again. And I found one on a website called Airtasker.com. Have you heard of Airtasker?
Oh, no, I haven't. What's that?
Well, Airtasker.com, and I've seen it on the side of buses since I've been in London. I don't know whether it's a London thing or not, but it is both physical and virtual jobs that you can post either as a supplier or as a consumer, and I put on there, I will pay X for somebody to come and help me drag my stuff down flights of stairs on Marathon Sunday. It needs to be a local person, because the point of it being marathon is that the whole of London is completely confused and shut. I couldn't bring myself to hire somebody who wanted to come and drive across London that day. Well, you're mental to try and do that. Apart from anything else, the roads are shut. But Airtasker, and as soon as I got on there, I saw people asking people to unblock their sinks, move their suitcases, do their IKEA flat packing, everything, but also virtual tasks like all of those sites that we use.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
Yes, and 6 people wanted to load my car for me on Marathon Day, and I've picked somebody locally who also has a cleaning business.
Well, that's brilliant, isn't it? I keep meaning to get a deep clean done when I go to Sussex.
Yes.
But I'm not sure if that's, if any...
Well, there are loads of cleaning companies that will do that for you. I had that done in Bromley before I left, but I don't know whether Airtasker... I haven't, obviously, because I'm in London, I haven't looked to see whether Airtasker does things outside of London. But it's easier to organise those sorts of bring and buy sites in metropolitan areas, isn't it?
Yes, of course, because you've got the population intensity.
Yes, exactly. And you've got all these princessy people who don't want to do their own chores in London.
No, absolutely. Lots of princesses.
Yes, quite. Now, tell me what has fueled your fire.
Well, I've been doing 3 things this week that have fueled my fire. One is working through Sue O'Kell's process. Remember, we interviewed her on the podcast just recently.
And we're going to talk about that later, aren't we?
Oh, yes, we are. But the other thing is I've been working through a process of writing everything down for the people who do my website. And the final thing is that I've been reading Alan Dibb's one-page marketing plan book, which became an instant bestseller, God knows how, because, anything being an instant bestseller involves an awful lot of work behind the scenes, as we know.
Yeah.
He spoke at the Superfast Business thing, and his book's very good. It's a bit like Traction for marketing. So I quite like it. It's very down to earth and practical. And
what did you say his surname was, Nicola?
Alan Dibb, D-I-B, I think. I'll confirm that to you afterwards.
Yeah, because I couldn't find the one you recommended last week. It looked like they only gave it to you at Superfast. It wasn't actually
I
on.
think they might have self-published it.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay.
But anyway, it's worth just linking to his website or something, because he's got lots of free stuff to give away. And and the whole thing has sort of made me feel quite enthused about my business. Just getting refocused on my avatar. And it's funny because Jane and I were just talking, my client Jane, and she was saying that she's identified 3 different challenge her avatar faces. And so we had this similar conversation as I've been having with people, which is you cannot market to 3 different things at once.
Yeah.
Even if they are 3 problems your avatar is facing, you have to advertise to each issue individually.
Yeah, so you can do it sequentially, can't you?
Well, you can do it sequentially, you can do it simultaneously.
Yeah.
But you need to then bring them into one marketing funnel, because if you're going to be setting up 3 marketing funnels for the 3 different types of people, it's 3 times the work.
Oh, I know.
And then when you change something, just things like little signatures at the bottom of emails and things, it's so much work to change everything. It's much better to do one main challenge leading into one main funnel. But it's hard to make the decisions. I've really realised that myself this week.
Yes, good. I'm pleased that you have, because when you talk to us about this later, it's going to be so much more valuable. I said that to you, didn't I? They like it when you talk about yourself, because they hear their same challenges. We've all got the same challenges, haven't we, basically?
And they don't really go away. They just get...
No, they change. They morph. They do. Yeah, they do. They don't go away. Yeah.
So what's fueled your fire this week?
Oh, being back in the hood. I'm totally surprised by this. Gareth's flat is SW2, as was my old flat, and I'm about a mile, if that, away from my old flat. I love the ease of knowing where everything is. It's so much easier and more relaxing than being a stranger in town all of the time. I know all of the back doubles. I know all of the nifty places to park. The joy of driving without the maps apps, trying to work out where I'm going, is heaven. I loved seeing my old crew at my MOT station on Friday. I needed 3 new tyres, which normally when you take your car to the MOT, you sort of hold your breath, don't you, thinking, oh God, I hope it doesn't cost me any money. But I wasn't in the least bothered, of course, because I just had my latest PPI win. So when they said 3 new tyres, I went, oh, bang them on. And I told them about the PPI. And as I left and I was paying the bill, the man said to me, do you mind my asking, how have you done that? And he wrote on his hand, ALLAY. So I converted them all at the MOT station into doing that as well.
Yeah, people don't really believe that it's true.
No.
It's achievable.
No, and I didn't believe that I'd ever paid any.
No, exactly, which makes you really realise what crooks they were.
Well, quite, because it was all hidden, and that's why they're being hoisted on their own petard and forced to pay us back so generously and so fast. Anyway, I'd heard a rumour that in my old street they'd introduced controlled parking, which is always a bit of a pain, because when people came, like clients or visitors or family or parties or tradespeople or anything, they would always ask, how is it to park in your street? Oh, it's free. Don't have to think about it. But now you do have to pay between 10 and 12 o'clock in the morning. And I thought that would be a bad thing. But when I went down the street, it was empty. So what that made me realise was how many commuters were parking in our road and leaving their car there all day, so that the residents couldn't actually park. And then I thought, well, actually, if the street's empty, that means none of the residents have actually got cars. So actually, I surprised myself there again. I did visit my old Clapham Park post office, and I was so sad because it's been shut down. And I nearly cried at that, to be honest, because I'd queued in that post office for 9 years and I paid them lots of money, and I'd lots of projects that I've been involved with in those 9 years required you to send off post that was recorded delivery. So I probably spent a couple of £1,000 in that bank, and I loved the man behind the counter, and I was looking forward to seeing all my old people, the MOT guys and all the regulars. And when I got to Clapham Park and it was shut, I was like, oh my God. But the upside of that is My bank's still open and I had to go there with my PPI paperwork. But opposite is a brand new, huge Marks and Spencer's food hall.
Oh, lovely.
Zero parking that I could see, but they used to be there. And when I lived in Streatham, and long before I lived in Streatham, it raged for years about redevelopment permits. What shall we do in the old Caesar's nightclub? This was Caesar's nightclub. It might have been Caesar's nightclub, which had galloping horses outside, or it might have been the Gaumont. But anyway, it was a huge, I think it had been a Garlow bingo hall. It had been loads of things, and now it's a posh middle-class Marks and Spencer's food hall. But what's interesting about that, of course, is that before my time, maybe a century ago, maybe less, a friend of mine who's a bit older than me, who's died now, which is sad, he was brought up in Streatham and it was posh. And when I first lived in London, it even had its own branch of John Lewis, and then it went downhill. And now I've left. It's coming back up again, which is, the M&S Food Hall is a vanguard of good things for Streatham. And that just all made me happy.
But it's funny, isn't it? How do they expect people to get their shopping home if there's no parking?
Well, the only thing I could think of, a friend of mine who used to be a chef came on Monday night and I said, have you seen the new Marks and Spencer's up Streatham High Road? All excited like that. I said, I couldn't see any parking. She said, there's about 4 spaces outside. And they go, oh yeah, that's not very helpful, is it? It is a big branch. And so all I could think was maybe they do deliveries. Yeah. And they are in negotiations with Ocado.
Oh yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Marvellous.
Anyway, so what's fueled my fire? Being back in the hood. It's so easy if you know where everything is. And I'm feeling a great deal of fondness for my old hood as well.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You are a city girl, and most people will be thinking, oh my God, isn't she having to pay, what's it called, the thingy charge?
Oh, not in Streatham, no. You only pay that when you go into proper London. This is still somewhere between the burbs where I was in Bromley. Well, it's sort of zone 1, zone 2-ish, which is quite urban. Well, it's urban, it's gritty, but in a good way. But I'm going to talk more about this later, actually. Shall we whiz on to our focus of the week?
Yes.
Now, you tell us.
Well,
I've written here, Sue O'Kell clarifying your message is what I've written.
Yeah, well, sort of preambled on it on the Fuel My Fire business.
Yes.
I've won this $4,000 website makeover, and I wanted to make the most of it because do I do it on nicolacairncross.com, which is a very old domain, but I'm pretty sure might have been penalised or something in the past because I can't seem to get my SEO. But I am having an SEO meeting with someone who was at Superfast Business as well to try and see why I can never get my traffic up at all. Because you'd think with an aged domain and lots and lots and lots of different multimedia blog posts, weekly, if not twice weekly, my traffic will be rising, but it doesn't. It just stays stubbornly set at 40 to 50 visitors a day.
Which is a terribly disappointing number, isn't it? I found that disappointing. It's not enough, is it?
No, not really.
No.
When you hear about, even when I had nicolacairncross.com back in 1998, and so it was very focused in those days. It was all about wealth creation, and that is a topic that people want to know about. I used to get 8,000 visitors without even blinking.
Yeah, but there was no competition in that niche then.
Yeah, I suppose so.
There was almost no competition online then.
Well, I know, I suppose so, but I should be getting more traffic than I am, and I agree. And I do know that just a guy at Stefan, but he got up on stage and he looked at some of our websites, and there was, I told you, didn't I, the other day about Screaming Frog, where you can actually just download this free bit of kit, and it will tell you which of your key pages don't have a proper title and don't have a proper meta description. So I've gone through and changed all that, and I can see a slightly discernible rise in traffic. So that obviously makes a difference, and I am having a consultation with him about doing that. I've also written a bit of pillar content in the form of a numbered list, because sometimes when you do a search on Google, the first result is a numbered list, do this, this and this.
Yes.
They seem to be favouring really...
yawn.
Yeah, sorry, move on.
No. I'm not saying what you're telling me is yawn-worthy. I'm saying that is yawn-worthy, that you've got to write something stock to be...
Yeah, but if you can beat all your competitors by doing it, why wouldn't you?
Well, because it's so cheesy.
Oh, yeah, I know, but, sometimes you have to get over the cheese.
Well, sometimes you have to get over the cheese, not all of the time. That's the point. I want to be interesting and unique. I don't want to have to follow formulae ever.
Yeah. So I had to work my way through this not too bad form actually for Studio One Design.
And sorry, Studio One Design is the website makeover or the SEO people?
Yes, and I'm also simultaneously working with Sue O'Kell, and her forms are a lot more arduous because they involve more thinking.
Yeah.
Whereas with Greg Merrill's and Studio One, I can just say, "Oh, see this page, all the content's on there already."
Yeah.
But I spoke to James briefly about, should I do it on nicolacancross.com? Should I have a separate domain name for Clicks and Leads Academy? Should I start from scratch on a brand new domain that can't be tainted or tarnished by any suggestions of spamming at any time in the last 20 years? And he said, no, just go for it on your own website because that's your authority site. So that's what we're doing. And I've said to them, one of the main things is I want to use my existing colour scheme because everything else is, but I'd like it to be more white. I want to go lighter and brighter. And so I showed him a few examples of websites I like. And they've said, obviously, they don't ever copy a website, but they'll try and take that in, the general feel of that into account. And then Sue is trying to get me to focus on my avatar, my ideal client avatar, because what we're trying to do there with her is to create a really clear marketing and product funnels. And the problem is, and I'm sure everybody else has this because I've just been talking to Jane about it, it's focusing on your ideal client and working out how they would want to do things.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
Has your ideal client not changed since the recent trip to Australia and the meeting with the second Amazon entrepreneurs man?
Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you? But
Possibly.
Well, when you think about it, though, those people don't go looking on the internet because they don't even know they've got a problem.
No, so you've met them at conferences.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to continue targeting the Amazon people through speaking gigs.
Yes.
But the other ideal client avatar, who is a freelancer or a consultant who is a specialist in something, those it's very difficult to know who do you want to aim at. Do you want to aim at a section of people, or do you want to look at the people who buy already? And the people who buy already are freelancers, specialists, consultants, who want to attract more clients. They don't want to build an online empire. They don't want a membership site necessarily. So the thing that I've got really clear out of this is I've got to stop aiming at the make money online market. Because coming back to my SEO, my biggest traffic pages are all attracting people who want to make money online. And that's who I used to be. It's not who I am now.
Yeah.
And Sue's sort of honed out a little phrase that keeps going around in my head, which is I'm the expert's expert. So I'm the expert's marketing expert. I work with experts and I am the expert in marketing for those people. And she's trying to distill it into one phrase that we can use.
I quite like the expert's expert.
Yes, I think the expert's marketing expert.
Yes, I was going to say, but I might put the word marketing in between the two experts. Yeah. Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah,
because it makes it clearer, doesn't it?
Yes, it makes it too long slightly. I mean, from a gorgeous use of the English language perspective, the expert's expert is gorgeous. But if you put in marketing, it explains what it's all about, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll play with it. But it's very, very difficult to commit because you're leaving behind all the other visitors. If you make a really concise, clear funnel, opt in for this, then your next step is to do this, then your next step is to do this. You're excluding all the people who aren't going to do that, and you feel like you should offer something to those people because you hate to lose them, as it were.
Well, that was your concern for me, that there was a whole swathe of people in my newsletter list who hadn't bought yet. It wasn't my concern at all, if you remember. It was your concern for me. So there's a small scarcity there, if I may say so. Yeah. And I don't think it's what you'd advise your clients to do either.
No, it isn't. Right. But that's why we all need to work with other people, isn't it?
Yes.
We need objective feedback on our business.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like focusing your mind like a $4,000 website makeover to get you focused.
I also think if you are working, we've talked about this a lot over the years, over the last 4 years we've been doing the podcast at least, this thing about the expert's expert, because, there's your concrete man and all of those sorts of people. You don't need all that many of them. If you get, 60 plus from the two Amazon Aussies in your clicks and leads, you don't need that many expert clients like Jane that you want to work with in a year, do you?
Well, she's a bit different because she was all done for you client.
So you're not talking about You're
No,
using the
I
expert's expert to get them into clicks and leads, are you?
Yes, I don't.
Oh, that's funny because it speaks more to me of the individual work, the expert's expert.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that.
No, but if I was an expert, I wouldn't want to be funneled into something with everybody else.
But if you wanted to work with a particular person and that was all you were offered, you would do it, wouldn't you? I would.
No, I wouldn't, no. Because it doesn't meet my needs. I want to work with you if I'm an expert.
What, and you'd want me to do everything for you?
If I was an expert, I would, yes, that's the point. I think what's hidden in the word expert is, you know, a bit like me and Airtasker, too posh to haul my own stuff upstairs.
Yeah, no, they don't want to do it. They don't want to learn to do it. They want someone to do it for them.
Yes, I think so. I think you want a smaller word that means...
There's a gap.
Yeah, there is.
There's a gap between people who know they have to learn how to do it themselves because they can't afford to pay someone to do it for them.
Yes.
And the person who wants to pay someone to do it for them but isn't prepared to pay what I would want to charge to do it.
Yes, necessarily.
Yeah. Because it's not something I enjoy. I really enjoy working with Jane because we've known each other for 15 odd years. So that's different. But
yeah, and she's also a sensible, easy woman.
Yeah, she takes up responsibility for her own success.
Yes.
That's a really nice way to work.
Yes.
But a lot of people come along and pay you a shed load of money and they abdicate responsibility, which I don't like.
No, I know you don't.
You've got the tension of who will pay you for what you want to offer. Then you've got the other tension of, you know, what people want versus what you offer. Then you've got do you find something to sell to the traffic that comes, or do you go out and find the traffic for what you want to sell?
Yes. So what do you want to sell?
I want to sell Clicks and Leads Academy.
Yeah, then the expert's not right. Sorry.
Well, doesn't the word expert...
Yeah, but your clients aren't experts. They're learners.
No, they're experts in what they do.
They're not really yet. They're learning to be Amazon entrepreneurs. No,
forget the Amazon entrepreneurs. Forget them. They're completely different. That's a whole different...
I think it's too big a word for the people going through Clicks and Leads.
They're expert in what they do. What they're not expert in is marketing.
I still think expert's too big a word for the people who are going through the thing. I don't think they are experts. I think they're middly.
Middly. Oh, so okay. So the experts would be...
It's too big and important. Yeah, it's too toppy.
It's too what?
Toppy. So if there's a bottomy, a middly and a toppy, experts are at the top and people going through Clicks and Leads Academy are middly.
Yes, good point, because they wouldn't be looking to get more clients if they were top, because the clients would be coming to them.
Or they'd be looking for somebody to do it for them, I think, at the top, because they're an expert. I think middly people are the people who are prepared. What denotes them as middly is they're prepared to pay to learn what they need to know to become an expert in themselves, in their own marketing, or more proficient themselves in their own marketing. And the bottomy people know they need to learn it but can't afford to cough up for it. Yeah. So we're not interested in bottomy, and top people want you to do it for them. So your people are in the middle somewhere, and I don't think they're experts. I think they're... I don't know, something less, bigger word, less. I don't think they would claim to be an expert. They're too modest.
They're freelancers, aren't they?
Well, a freelancer isn't an expert, really. They're jobbing. They work by the hour.
Well, that is what an awful lot of my clients are.
Jobbing
specialists.
Yeah, they're not. Well, depends what you mean. Anyway, doesn't matter. Keep going.
It does, because it's really crucial that I know this.
Well, you see, consultant specialists, a specialist is an expert. A freelancer, to me, is somebody who's beginning their self-employed career and isn't totally independent yet.
The people who sign up are the people who've traditionally relied on referral business. And now that referral business is not coming anymore. Or they got referrals from big firms who didn't want, so they're...
Yeah. I mean, don't call this person out by name, but is there an ideal client in the Clicks and Leads Academy?
There are several. Yeah.
Can you describe them to me?
Yes, they are good at what they do.
See, that's better. It's not the same as being an expert. You get it? It's competent. I wouldn't even call myself an expert. I'm good at what I do, though.
Mm. And you wouldn't want to pay someone to do it all for you, but you'd be quite happy.
Well, I might under certain circumstances.
Yeah.
But I liked. You've taught me everything I know to do most of it myself, and then I buy in expertise when it's either beyond me or I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So go back to the ideally people. They're what? They're good at what they do. Yes.
They're very good at what they do. They've been doing it they're experienced.
Yes.
They would like more clients.
Yes.
Their concerns are that if they stop working, the money will stop.
Yeah.
And their also concerns are that they are getting older and they've got, they're the jam sandwich.
Yeah, so they want to automate some of it.
Yes.
The age thing wants some of it automated, doesn't it?
Well, they really want their marketing automated because they're flailing about doing bits and pieces, not with no idea about whether any of it's working. They've got no system to work to.
Well, interestingly, those last two. Well, let me recap what you said. You said they're good at what they do, they're experienced, they want more business. But the next two, they're worried that if they stop working, the money stops, and they want to automate. Those two, bottom two, have been your core things ever since I've known you.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the money gym was about we're worried if we stop working, the money will stop. And the automated marketing machine was about I need to automate my marketing.
Yes.
Everything you've ever done is about those two tenets.
Because it seems to be really difficult for most people to put a marketing system together because they are terrified that the marketing system they put together is not going to work. So they don't put a marketing system together. So they just flap about doing bits and pieces here and there with no system at all. And what I do is bully them into choosing who their initial ideal client might be and then putting a marketing system together to reach them. So that seems to be where my strength is.
Yeah, I really, of that list that I wrote down, the powerful one, I'm not going to say for me anymore, but certainly for me once. And the one that screams at me is, if I stop working, the money stops.
Yeah.
As a sales point.
Yes. Okay.
The one that would pique my interest.
Yeah.
And then you coupled it with older, because I think that's the point. I think it's mature. I think that these people are 40 and 50, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in their 40s.
Yes. And that's when you start to think about things like this, because when you were younger, you had the stamina to do it the hard way, to keep attracting new clients from referrals or whatever and chasing the business. And actually, as you get older, you want to use your time more smartly, don't you?
Yeah. And you want to attract clients rather than going out. And
I've noticed that. I've noticed you said it today, and I've noticed how you said it often. You always use that expression now, client attraction, which I think it's a nice expression because it's not chasing. It's a lovely energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Client attraction.
Yeah. And I've put together a new report with an old book and called it Attract 3.0.
Mm.
So I could do some more work on that and get it onto Amazon. And so I'm thinking that whole client attraction thing is my USP in a way, because there's nobody else teaching it. I mean, Veronica Pullen does, but she teaches it in a totally different way. She stresses that she doesn't teach, she's aiming at the people who don't want to pay for paid ads. Mm. She wants people who are going to want to use social media for it. I think
that's her more recent iteration, I think. I think when she realised that it was quite difficult to get people to pay what Facebook ads cost, she started to look at what you can do with it being organic.
Yes, which is completely opposite. I mean,
yes.
I'm teaching people how to spend £5 a day, but really make the most of that £5 a day.
Yes.
But I don't want people who can't even afford to pay £5 a day.
Well, there's another strong point to bring out, £5 a day. Client attraction in £5 a day.
Yeah,
forever.
Point.
So they might as well get used to that.
Yes, but it gets them in front of 20 to 30,000 people a month, so it's quite powerful.
I'm
writing this down.
Good. Well, because it's all clarifying, isn't it? A conversation like this helps us work everything out.
Yeah, it does.
And actually, client attraction is about repelling the wrong people, and you might as well repel the people from the beginning who haven't got £5 a day, as well as time.
Yes, that's good. And when I can see my ideal client so clearly. It's just working out how to communicate to them in a way that's simple and clean.
Yes.
But I'm sure that...
I think you'll be inspired when you've got your new website.
Yes. I hope so. If I don't like it, it's going to be a problem, isn't it?
Yes, it is. What is this focus about for our... What am I going to call the podcast? What is this? What's the nub? It's about clarifying your message. Or clarifying your sales message.
Clarifying your sales.
Or clean marketing, did you say?
Yeah, clean marketing.
Oh, that's nice.
I know.
That's very nice. Is there
That'll
something in that for you?
There might be, mightn't there?
Yeah. Clean marketing on a £5 a day.
Clean marketing for client attraction in a £5 a day, perhaps.
Well, those 3 principles, isn't it?
Yes. Using. It's about leveraging your content. That's what I teach people how to do. How to set up a system that is repeatable week on week on week, and that's easy for you as the business owner. I mean, really, I do hardly anything. I record a little V-zine and I write a newsletter. I just write the parts now. I don't even put it together myself. And then my VA takes it from there. It's so easy. It's done in such a little bit amount of time, but getting here has been years of experience.
Have you written down clean marketing?
I haven't, but I will now.
Just write it down and then look at the first word and tell me what you see.
Lean.
Yes. It's clean marketing. It's lean marketing, isn't it?
Yes. Marketing.
We like lean marketing because it means...
And leverage marketing.
Well, yes. Leveraged, I think, is a strange word that people don't always exactly know what it means. And it's a bit jargony.
Yeah. So I've been quite brave this week in making lots of decisions that I'm not normally very good at making decisions.
Writing this down, brave decisions. I think that's what this is all about. You get your clients to do that. You've got to lead by example.
Yes, well, exactly. Yes, totally. And even, it was interesting, just the feedback from Sue was she says, you offer so many different products and services. I said, no, I don't. I offer Clicks and Leads Academy. And she fired back at me with copy and paste from my different sales pages where I'm saying about 5 or 6 different things because it's all grown up organically.
Yes.
And Greg Merrily, I said to Greg Merrily, he loved it. He loved the expression. I said, it's grown up organically over 20 years. It's an unwieldy beast now.
Yes.
And he loved that.
Yes.
Because that's how it feels. And if you don't keep your message tight, then you end up with lots of different pages, lots of different products, lots of different opt-ins, lots of different domain names with different websites on. And you can see how you could be confusing your clients. If you're confusing someone who knows you, like Sue does know me and knows what I offer, if she's confused, then...
Well, it's a creator thing, because every time we have a brilliant new idea, we've banged up another page, haven't we? Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about Sue. I've got 2 stories about Sue. One I can't tell you because it's very private, and one that happened yesterday that I don't think she'll mind my sharing with you, which is she'd seen a programme the night before last on the television, which I haven't seen yet, and she'd gone to look at the website of one of the people in it who was an architect. And she PM'd me to say, oh my God, look at this website. I've just read everything on in this man's copy. I thought the website was an absolute disaster and it didn't answer the 3 questions that she taught us about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a dreadful colour. The print was too small. I had to press some weird expression in order to get in. It was all about him. It broke all of her rules she taught us 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I had the enormous great fun of saying back to her, I don't know why you like this website. It doesn't meet any of your own criteria.
I do tend to love architects' websites, I must say, because they are very arty and minimalist and tricksy, like you just said. Yeah, I really do like them.
I thought it was ego on a stick, and it was pink, and I didn't like it.
Pink? Oh, God.
Well, it was a horrible pink, and the type was too small, and it didn't do any of... I said, I don't know why you like this. I laughed at her, actually, in PM, because it's like she'd fallen in love. She really loved... I think the story is what she loved, the story, the copy. I think she devoured every word, even though I couldn't stay on this website longer than about 30 seconds because it was just so horrific to me. And I said, but it doesn't do anything that you're teaching us to do. I love that. I love how contrary we are.
Yes, as people, yes.
Yes.
Well, that's how easy it is to get confused.
Well, it is absolutely right. There is this logic. There is this logic that she taught us, and she's a mechanic, as you say, and her paperwork is arduous, and you were really impressed by her, what she said to us that day, enough to want to work with her. And yet there she is, falling in love with a website that's completely outside all of those guidelines. I thought it was very, very funny. You have
to ping me the URL afterwards.
I will.
Good stuff. I think we're done there, aren't we?
I think we are done there, yes. I think it's... Do you know what I'm thinking? Because I thought we were going to talk about clarifying your message, and it's much bigger than that. Or rather, it's about how difficult it is to clarify your message. And it makes me think that it's something you don't just do in 2019 and then you think you're done. You probably should make it an annual pilgrimage, if not more often than that, actually.
I would think so, yeah. And what it does throw up is the tension between what people want and what they need, what they'll pay for and what they can't pay for. What you want to offer, how important that is to offer something that you are happy delivering.
Yes.
Because
I also think that Sue's point about how many things you think she thought you offered is about today's disinclination to read. We want that, and she taught us that. She wants to see it on the first page, bang.
Yes. And I'm looking at Airtasker, actually. It says, get anything done. Thousands of trusted people happy to help. Get started now. That's
okay.
what it really
Yeah,
is.
it is. It's got to be. And it's quite bossy, isn't it? It tells people what to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's a relief because we're all so overwhelmed.
Yes. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get something really nice and white. Actually, this is quite a nice website, this Airtasker website.
I haven't looked at it all that much. And I think I Googled it on my iPad at night and did it all on my iPad, which sometimes I find quite difficult to do things on my iPad, but it was brilliant.
Yeah, the website obviously works on mobile.
Yes.
Very good. Oh, well, we'll see how mine comes out. They look like they're going to be fairly thorough and they're going to create templates for me. I said, the main thing is I've got to be able to change the content myself. Because when I next have my brain fart.
Yes, and one more question I have on this. Obviously, you don't want to lose any of your authority content that Google likes, your gazillions of blog posts. But you don't want to have too many pages, I'm guessing.
Well, the thing is, there can be an unlimited number of pages and posts, but you don't link to them from the menus.
No, so on the front, when we come to your new lighter and brighter authority site, which is all about clean marketing for $5 a day, we don't want to be distracted in the way that Sue felt she was.
Yes, and that raises another question, of course, isn't it? Photographs. I don't want to get new photographs done, but my older photographs don't really look like I look like now.
I don't think that matters.
I'd like to look like.
I don't think that matters. No. You mean the ones with the necklaces and the hairdo and the red lipstick?
Yes.
And pick the ones you like best.
Yeah. But they're all dark, so it's going to be quite difficult.
Okay. So then get somebody who you like, Stella. No, what's your friend's? Steph. Somebody you like and trust with a digital camera and just take lots until you get some you like.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't think there are going to be any I like, because I don't really like the way I look at the moment. So.
Well, I think the look that you use now to get about in your life is very similar to my own and very relaxing and comfortable. It's not one I would promote on my website, no. I think there's nothing like a professional photograph, but I did have them updated, as you know, only a year ago, and I didn't regret that at all, and it wasn't expensive. Is there a professional portrait photographer in Stupa, or one coming out for the holidays, perhaps?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's find out.
I think you want something in between, don't you? You want something light and bright and Stupa-ish, actually.
Possibly. Yes, possibly. Yeah, so you're right. I better find myself there's lots of photographers, because there's lots of people always taking marvellous pictures of Stupa. If you're in Stupa Life, which you're not, then you'd see the most amazing pictures of the place.
But remember what Sue said, nobody gives a damn about your studio shots.
That's very true. Yeah.
But I agree with you. One decent one on the About page of you that you're happy with in your life now is an essential. Yeah. What's it called?
A hero shot.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right.
Right, moving on.
Okay, then. Yes, moving on. Do you have a word of the week?
Balance.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get back into balance. My sleep patterns are all over the shop. I was awake for 3 hours last night, and I slept really well when I got back here because I was exhausted. But now that's worn off a bit. I'm still a bit not used, it's strange surroundings, very quiet outside. I woke up last night convinced there was someone in the house, which obviously there wasn't. And it was just very unsettling. So I'm striving for balance again.
Actually, when you think there's somebody trying to get in, that's one of your old fears, isn't it?
Well, I just thought, I woke up and I thought my bedroom door had swung open, and it hadn't. I was imagining it completely, but obviously I was dreaming about something quite unsettling. That's why I quite like the Fitbit things, because you can look at your sleep patterns and see, oh yeah, that was the time when I really felt quite awake, but actually you find out that you're in a light sleep rather than absolutely awake, so it makes you feel like you had a better night than you did.
That's total gobbledygook to me.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
My word is not dissimilar. It's flexibility, which sounds like the opposite, but it's sort of the same, which is all this turmoil of moving house. On some days, I find can be quite wearing. Thank goodness we've got Abraham to help us with the reframes. But I said to you last week in a private message, it's unsettling because I don't know where anything is. And I like generally the old Judith. The new Judith she's quite young. She's only in the Abraham phase, but the old Judith liked, a place for everything and everything in its place. I've no idea where anything is currently. Most of it's in the boot of my car because I can't haul it up 2 flights of stairs. But I don't know where anything is. And sometimes I find that unsettling. So I go with, flexibility is one of my words at the moment, not just in the sense of strengthening knees as I walk up and down stairs and walk along long corridors and things, but flexibility if I don't know where it is and it doesn't matter.
Good for you.
Quite taxing, to be honest. Let's do project updates. Actually, quite taxing, to be honest, and we laughed, but actually quite taxing now and again in areas of your life. Just keeps you young, so that's okay.
It does. Otherwise, you settle into old age.
You do. You become a boring old fart, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your project updates.
I've got some big news this week.
Oh, God, so have I. You go first.
About our podcast.
What?
In the last week, we've had, brace yourself,
I'm braced.
Week and a half, we've had 7 days where we've had 500 to 700 downloads, and 1 day where we had 1,246 downloads.
OMG, which day was that?
I don't know exactly, but I could tell you.
It's quite important to know whether it was a launch day, i.e. a Friday, or...
Okay, well, let me tell you that in April already, and we're only halfway through, we've had 5,800 downloads. Whereas
that's our biggest month ever.
It's our biggest month to date, apart from that other biggest month we had. Remember where someone randomly came and downloaded?
Yes.
But I've been looking back, and it's not just a random episode that someone's tweeted. It seems to be a real upswell of new subscribers.
Good.
Because every single of our old podcasts are now showing daily downloads this month of 20 to 30, even going back to like number 1 and 2, whereas normally in a month they'd get 3 to 5 downloads, the old one.
Yes.
There's something's happened, Judith. It looks like a hockey stick. That's all I can.
Well, I mean, it looks like a hockey stick is hovering over the horizon, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but the other thing is, you show me your statistics on your Facebook page and your Twitter analytics.
Yes.
My Twitter seems to have gone bonkers in the same way that yours did.
Oh.
And I've attracted quite a few high-profile followers on my Twitter. And, of course, I do own it all the time on that. So I just wonder if someone with a big following has become a fan. And
I think it's more organic than that. I think it's the critical mass.
We must be showing up in more searches or something.
I think it's critical mass. There are new, as I said to you a couple of weeks ago, there's more people that we're getting to know that I didn't know before. More strangers in our Facebook group.
Yes. So we expect to see a commensurate upswing in applications to join the group, wouldn't we?
You know why this is marvellous news for me?
Go on.
Because it's only the only marketing I'm doing currently.
Okay.
How funny is that?
Yeah. No, it was interesting. I thought I'll just go and have a look just to see, and I nearly fell off my chair.
Yeah, good.
When I saw it. Big spikes, lovely. We love big spikes.
Love a big spike, yes. Is that it in this section?
Yeah, I haven't done any writing. In fact, I'm seriously considering never writing again because I'm so dejected and despondent with my writing quality.
What?
Yes, I don't.
And last week you'd had your professional critique, and it was encouraging.
Well, it was encouraging, but I tell you what it is, Judith. It's the thought that in order to improve on this writing log, I'm going to have to really work at it, and I don't think I want to spend. I want to do something that's enjoyable, not something that's hard.
Well, I've got a lot of clients who are writers, and after the show, I will, might get a couple of them on to be interviewed. After the show, I will share with you what they're doing to improve their writing that looks really easy.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, not today.
Really, at this stage in life, do I really want to be doing something that's hard work and not very enjoyable?
Well, only if you love it. And historically, since you started, you've only ever really convinced us that you loved it because you listened to your 200 hours and you loved making your synopses and you loved it. This is the first day you've been a bit down about it. It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't this turmoil of travelling the world and the exhaustion and not being combobulated again yet.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see.
Because you see, if you just enjoyed it for another 20 years, a bit like I've done with coaching, you can't help but get better.
No. I think when Right Club starts meeting again, because everyone's been spread to the four corners of the world, but although there is something there that might make me think I don't really want to do that anymore either. So anyway,
well, it's interesting because I said to you, I've got an expert you should interview, and you reminded me that Right Club is only about fiction.
Yeah.
And I had a visitor on Monday night, it's Thursday morning now, who's known me for a very long time, and she's a very lovely person. And afterwards, she was in London for a hospital appointment, which it's not a nice reason to be in London. You know, somebody was going to stick a camera up or down or something. Not nice. The next day, even though that's what had happened to her, she sent me an email saying, I see that your third career, you're going to be a writer. It's going to be fiction. Now, we'll forget that it isn't going to be fiction. It isn't going to. And then she went on to list the reasons, based on our conversation the night before, why she thought I would be good at that. And it was very affirming, even though she got it wrong that I don't want to write fiction. She basically said, you're such a good observer of people. You've got funny turns of phrases. You know lots of people you could put into your stories. Da, 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 da. It was fascinating to have this sort of unsolicited, third-party, kind offering that was quite close to what I had in mind, but not precise. And I think that, you know, maybe fiction isn't it. Well, I know it's not for me. Maybe there's another form of writing you would find easier to.
I thought script writing would be easier than fiction writing.
Yes,
novels, but
it's not really.
Well, I don't know.
Why do you want your writing to be easy? If that's too hard a question, we can do it off podcast.
It's not. I tell you what it is, Judith. I find having the ideas easy.
Yeah, as ever. Yeah.
I find, exactly.
Yeah.
But I find things like grammar and not spelling, but grammar particularly, and things like writing show, not tell, showing, not telling. I find that really difficult.
Yeah.
And I can't even see, when people correct me, I can barely see the difference.
Yes, I understand. It is very hard, Nicola.
Yeah.
There's a girl I met when I was an accountant to a PR business 2 days a week in the 80s. It was quite a posh firm, so that all the girls were blue stockings. I've told you this story before. And they'd all worked in publishing. They've got decent university degrees, and they'd worked for pence in publishing. And one of them had worked at the company that publishes Jeffrey Archer. And Jeffrey Archer can't do any of those things either. He just writes the stories, and then the blue stockings at his publishing company do the grammar and the showing, not telling.
And actually, you can pay an editor to
Quite, yes. Come up with the stories, because people can. That's the hard, not the hard bit. That's the unique bit, and somebody else can lick it into shape. You could even be a two-woman team, a two-person team.
Yeah.
I think actually, you know how many times you and I and our clients, our creator clients, want to be paid for their ideas, and then we think, dream on. Writing is probably the one where you could be paid for your ideas.
Yes. Anyway, I'll see what happens. I mean,
I think you'll get over it. I honestly do. I think it just sounds like you're a bit tired from your travelling.
Well, we'll see. It's more about a personal clash somewhere along the line.
Ah, okay. All right.
So,
okay.
Obviously, I don't want to go.
Noted. No, quite. Okay. I will tell you about my project updates.
Yeah.
I've got my first viewing down in Worthing on Monday.
Oh, okay.
And it's by an investor, which is just what we need.
Oh, lovely.
And then because it's not mortgageable to a first-time buyer or anything.
Yeah.
So I've asked my woo-woo group to send vibes to help me manifest an excellent result. It only takes one. We only need one. This could be the one.
And I'm going to say, the pictures I saw made it look really, really nice.
Well, somebody I showed the pictures to didn't agree, but I think an investor will take that, which is problematic for me. An incoming investor who's younger than me and a man will take that and lick it into shape for pence and crank up the rent and make it work, make more sense to him. And he'll take on all the difficulties that I have, which is in a block of flats where there's 6 flats. Everybody else is like me. They've got service charge fatigue, and we're annoyed with the managing agents because the roof leaks and nobody's fixed it. And my flat's affected by the leaking roof, and we don't want to pay any more to have the roof fixed because we only just paid to have the roof fixed, and all of this kind of nonsense that goes on. But what I'm leading up to tell you is I still haven't done the conveyancing paperwork. But if he's going in on Easter Monday, I need to do that over the Easter weekend as my part in this manifestation exercise. And I think knowing that there's an investor going down there on Monday will motivate me to do it probably on Sunday, because I'm going to see a stupid woman on Saturday. But that's quite exciting in the Worthing story.
Yeah, very much so. It'd be nice to sell that one well.
Well, with ease. That's the point.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Good. So what's impressed then?
You go first.
Okay. Well,
unless yours is a lovely one that you want to end on.
No, it's quite an up one. It's
okay.
It's have you watched Naked Beach?
I haven't even heard of Naked Beach.
Well, I hadn't either, and I wasn't massively convinced by what I saw, which was a bunch of bums on a Greek beach.
I have to say, it doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
Okay. It's not like those other programs. It's not like a dating program where everyone's naked. It's actually really, really wonderful and life affirming. Basically, they take people who have filled in very low self-esteem scores for their bodies on a survey, and they put them on a Greek villa with a load of naked people who are nonetheless wearing thongs and who are body painted, so they don't look so naked as they could look. And they spend the whole week just hanging out with these people who've got really bad self-image problems. And by the end of the week, these people are willing to cast off their dressing gowns and jump in the sea. And it made me cry.
I was going to say, did you blub?
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And they shoot it really well. So you don't see, too much of people's parts all the time. They managed to frame the shots really well. They got body paint on them, and, and they're just really sensitive to that. So even at the end, you don't see anything particularly. So it's a lovely program that's, it's actually it's a project being run by a psychologist in London. And it makes you realise how not very often we see other people's bodies. In the olden days, we all used to go to public baths and, sauna and bath together in big bath houses. I'm not talking about the olden days like Victorian times. I'm talking about going back to medieval times. The only way to get clean was to go to a public.
Yes.
So you always saw other people naked, and it's a bit like the death thing, isn't it? I mean, we've swept it under the carpet, and we've swept nakedness under the carpet to the point where we all feel like we're freaks, whereas actually we're all just the same as everybody else in different shapes.
Well, if I may make the comparison between death and nakedness, I'm cool with death, but I don't want to see very many people naked, to be honest.
No, but the point is that if you had to, if you were in an environment where we all took our clothes off regularly, then it would become just another thing that we would do.
In St Martin, there's several naked beaches. What are they called? Naturist.
Nudist. Yeah.
I think there's a difference between a naturist and a nudist, isn't there?
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I always think, fill your boots, go on, but I won't be coming to have a look or join in. Not because I feel uncomfortable about the nakedness of my own body particularly. I'm quite self-forgiving, but I don't know what.
So you've got a positive body image?
Well, I wouldn't say it's not negative, but I'm well aware that as with most people, there was a fascinating bit last night on there's a thing called the Celebrity Painting Challenge, and the first episode they had to paint the human form. They had to do a self-portrait, and they had to there was a mini challenge in the middle where they had to really look at other people's faces. But the first one was a naked model, and it was Keith Allen, Lily Allen's father. He used to be in the comic strip and all of that. Yeah. And he came in a dressing gown and stripped off and lay down on a couch, and they covered up his modesty. But everybody had seen him naked, and he wasn't bothered about that at all. And he certainly wasn't a body beauty. He was very hairy, a little bit tubby around the middle, bald on top. I mean, he wasn't a physical specimen, but he was totally at ease with himself, clothed and unclothed, which meant it was much easier for the painters who were probably slightly embarrassed to see Keith Allen without his kit on.
Yeah. Somehow being famous makes it worse. Yes,
he doesn't have a body beautiful, and he wasn't bothered about people. It was handled very nicely, as you're saying, and I think that's the most attractive bit of what you're saying, which is even when they got naked, it wasn't shoved in your face.
Yeah, it wasn't titillating.
Yeah, so there's some discretion. Yeah, that's what I'm working up to talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just finally, the other thing obviously seen episode 1 of season 8, the final season of Game of Thrones. It was absolutely brilliant. I didn't want it to end, and nobody except Game of Thrones fans would know what I'm on about. That's it. I loved it.
Right, and mine is London. Oh my God, I had forgotten what a wonderful place it is. When I had to go and see Jack and Sarah, the ancient cat and the backpacking 63-year-old on Sunday, driving around Marble Arch. I mean, she lives, I don't know, an hour north of London, and I could get there without a map. And, I was driving past all sorts of wonderful bits of London. When I was driving around Marble Arch, I exclaimed out loud how wonderful it is to be back. Of course, it's a wonderful time of year. It's sunny and all the blossoms out and everything. But, I hadn't realised when I was so busy falling in love with the countryside for the last 2 years, I hadn't realised how marvellous my hometown is as well.
Yeah, it makes me feel vaguely claustrophobic just thinking about all those people.
Well, I didn't really see very many people because I got in the car at sort of 8:15 in the morning, and driving through London on a Sunday is just heaven. And so you can see all the best bits. You can see all the, you can see Buckingham Palace and the Mall, and you can see, and your favourite bridge, and all bridges make me bring a lump to my throat, and you can see it all, and it's just, I just love it. Now, whether I would want to come back here and live here full time, I don't know, but it's great to be back, and it is a fantastic city. So London has impressed me.
London in springtime. Very nice. That's us done. Thank you very much.
All right, babe. See you next week. Have a nice Easter. No, it's not Easter in Greece, isn't it? Isn't your Easter, Greek Easter, another weekend or something bizarre?
No idea what's happening on Easter.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
How do they do it? Not a care and suffering. Wanna step into their world.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.